Are you live?
I am. I'm live at the moment. We'll let people come back in. So I started this live a couple of minutes ago and it got shut off. So I'm gonna have to maybe censor some of the things that I'm saying.
I
And
think it's more, I don't know. Who knows? You're talking about a specific celebrity who's been arrested, so maybe that's what you should
I'm
say.
not the only person talking
I'm
about this stuff. I don't know why my channel always gets somehow cut off. It doesn't matter what I'm talking about. If I'm talking about anything of
it could have
prominence,
been the charges you said. Uh there's some words there, right? Like that could have been flagged.
it's true.
But I'm thinking it's the person you're talking about and the charges put together. If they have like AI bots and people listening to this stuff, they're like, oh, they're talking about this. I don't know, because once you got into the Johnson guy, you didn't say anything bad. So
All right. I'm gonna try and I'm gonna slow walk this, and I'm gonna try and not say anything to get my stream cut off again. All right, so take two. I don't even know where was I at.
okay, we're talking about the celebrity who was just arrested, who's the largest guy in the music business. We went over his 3 charges and how this pertains to security.
All right,
Whether
all
you're
right,
the
all right, all right, all
bodyguard.
right. I already got it. I got it.
Okay,
Okay. All right. I was getting on fire though.
I know
I was getting there. All right. So today we're gonna be talking
about the Mann Act.
about the current situation that a certain famous celebrity has found himself in. I am not going to discuss whether or not he's guilty. That's irrelevant to me. The important thing and the reason why I'm making this video tonight is because I think it's important for private security guards. I had asked a question the other day. I said, what do you guys want to do with the remainder of your time in 2024 going into 2025? Do you want to stay in private security? Do you want to become a police officer? You want to start your own business? And I asked a question, how many of you guys want to get into executive protection? A lot of people, like 45 to 50% of the people said, yeah, I would love to get into executive protection. I like the action of it. I like all of that. It is so important based on the circumstances and the situation surrounding this certain celebrity. And the reason why it's important for you guys is because all of these court cases, anything that happens at this level, it sets precedents. And there's something very important that's happening in this case that you guys need to be aware of if you're working in private security. So, if you are working as a bodyguard, that's private security. If you're working as an executive protection agent, that's private security. If you're working, any sort of close detail, and it's not just working with a celebrity rapper. Some people will hear this and go, well, I don't work with rappers. Some people will say, well, I'm not in the hip hop industry. Guys, listen, if you work at bars, you work at nightclubs, if you work at strip clubs, if you work at event venues where people of any sort of means are working and you're in close proximity to them, the situation that's going on with this one record mogul has far-reaching implications based on the charges that they've levied against this person. So, what are the charges that are out there right now surrounding this one major celebrity, right? One is ST. I'm assuming you guys know what ST stands for. I don't want to get cut off here. The second is racketeering conspiracy. And the third thing is transportation to engage in P-tuition. Okay? Those are the 3 charges. And I'm going to tie in how this applies to private security. So, what is going on right now in that situation is that there was a law that was passed in 1910. It's called the Mann Act. Okay? This law was passed because there was a famous boxer named Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson was basically unbeatable during his time as the heavyweight champion of the world. Jack Johnson also happened to be black. This was during segregation and Jim Crow. He had a propensity at the time, being a millionaire in the early 1900s, okay? In the segregated system of the 1900s, he was a millionaire. He's the world champion, and he is driving around town and cohorting with white women. So a senator, I believe, at the time, passed a law that said that you could not transport a female from one area to another. If you cross state lines for immoral purposes, you were breaking the law. This law is known as the Mann Act. This is the law that R. Kelly has found himself afoul of and why he is currently in jail. Now, the reason why I say that, if you work as a private security guard, an executive protection agent, if you're working as a bodyguard, not just for a celebrity, but any person of means that is moving between state lines. We live here in Portland. Portland is in Oregon. But 15 minutes up the road is Vancouver, Washington. So if I were to take my wife now and drive 15 minutes up the road, we're going to go out of Oregon and into Washington. This is how this plays into if you're working executive protection or close protection detail. If the person that you're working with, the principal, happens to have a female, it could be a woman that he's dating, it could be someone that he's just met, it could be a groupie, it could be anybody, it could be someone that he's in a relationship with. If they go from point A to point B and cross state lines, and then somewhere down the road, okay, somewhere down the road, 5, 10, 15, 20 years later, there is a discrepancy in whether or not something happened, was consensual, or if there was some issue, right? And in a lot of these situations, I'm not passing any sort of judgment on whether or not something between a person and this person is consensual. But if 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, there is a disagreement as to what happened in that situation, and you're working in executive protection, you're working as a bodyguard, you're working as a security guard, the situation that is going on right now with this one celebrity, it's setting a precedent. The Homeland Security is basically saying that the entire enterprise of this person, that would be his record label, his media empire, his alcohol company that he has, that entire enterprise led to a power imbalance between him and certain females and certain men, I think they're saying too, right?
Yeah.
Men and women, that led to a power imbalance. And based on that power imbalance, he had more influence over certain people in certain situations, to the point that those people now are saying, look, looking back in that situation, I didn't feel that I had the ability to consent to what happened. I'm trying very carefully to say this without, number one, stepping across any lines, and number two, passing any aspersions on either person. It's very difficult to talk about this and not come off the wrong way. So I don't want to in any way to make it seem like I'm justifying anything. I'm not. I'm just trying to make a point here, trying to lay it out there. If there's a discrepancy or an argument about whether or not this person had a power imbalance over this other person, and then someone says, look, looking back, I don't feel that was a situation where I truly consented.
Or I felt like I didn't have a choice.
I felt like I didn't have a choice, that I was being coerced, because that's kind of the thing that they're throwing around, that it's coercion by the position that he was in, the power that he had, the ability to make someone famous or not make someone famous.
Right.
Now, in all of this information, there are certain situations that are clear cut. This person was aggressive, hit this person, all that other stuff.
Right.
That's over here. There is a very small window of information where they're saying that based on who he is, what he was able to do for someone, the money he could give someone, the position he could put them in terms of fame, that created a power imbalance and what led to coercion. Where this leads to private security is that everybody who was in that circle, if you were working as a bodyguard, if you were working as a security guard, if you were working in a close protective detail, and you saw any of this, they are lumping everyone in with that. And they have the ability under this RICO charge to say that all of these people are complicit.
Right.
So if you were there when this one famous mogul was coercing people to do things that they didn't want to do based on how they see it 15 or 20 years later, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were there as a security guard, you're complicit. So I want to read something to you guys. Hang on. A RICO charge is a criminal prosecution under the Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Act of 1970. RICO charges are brought against individuals who participate in the affairs of an enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity. A pattern of racketeering activity is defined as at least two separate activities that occur within a 10-year period. Two separate activities that occur within a 10-year period. Guys, if you work in an environment where you're a security guard or a bouncer or a bodyguard and your job is to identify attractive women, to pull them out of a crowd. This happens all the time at events, right? You see a baddie, point him out, see if you can get him to come up here and talk to the rapper or get him backstage. That's being complicit in that situation. Passing a phone number from a fan to the artist, and then that artist and that fan have an interaction, you're the go-between. There's all kinds of situations and scenarios that we could probably lay out in the security industry, the bouncer industry, where conceivably, and some of you are going, this is so outlandish, this would never happen. You would be surprised. And when it comes to a situation where someone is being prosecuted, someone is being sued for millions and millions of dollars, all of this comes into play. And I just want you guys to be aware of it. I want you guys to be aware of it because so many of you want to be in that environment. So many of you want to be around celebrities. You want to be around the fun and the interesting things that are happening, right? But all of this comes at a cost. And as we get further down the road, it's 2024, I don't see this situation with the severity of the charges, the level of celebrity of the person that's involved, the potential for other people's information to come out and be involved. I don't see this situation being a one-off or something that doesn't continue down the road, right? So if you're working in the security industry, if you're working in a close protective capacity, this is the kind of stuff that you could find yourself in. Give me 1 second here. Let me pull this up. So I just kind of Googled, like, what are some of the things that could happen? I'm going to give you guys 10 potential situations that a security guard could find themselves in this type of environment, okay? Number 1 is participation in coordinated illegal acts. If a security guard or a bodyguard knowingly participated in or facilitated illegal activities coordinated by that media mogul or others in his organization, such as drug distribution, trafficking, or violent crimes, they could be charged under the RICO statute for contributing to a pattern of criminal behavior. That's very, very broad. Drug distribution, violent crimes. How many times have bodyguards and security guards roughed somebody up, tuned somebody up, beat somebody up, intimidated somebody, right? These are all things that could come back to bite you in the butt. Secondly, aiding and abetting assaults. If the security team was aware of, facilitated, or engaged in physical assaults or intimidation at the behest of that music artist, and you guys know who I'm talking about, especially if these incidents were a part of a larger effort to maintain control or suppress rivals. How many times have we seen videos of one rapper and his crew getting into a fight with another rapper and their crew? We just had a situation where Rick Ross got pressed up on in Canada by allegedly, by some of Drake's people, right? So again, if you're working in that close protection detail, you're working security, you're working as a bouncer, if you're doing something at the behest, you're jumping somebody, you're intimidating somebody At the behest of this person, they are tying all of that into a larger criminal organization. And again, look, when it comes to the federal government, whatever they say is what they say. Some people right now will be like, look, I work at, I don't know, we're going to just say some random club, the Silver Rhino. I'm the bouncer at the Silver Rhino. I'm head of security. And rapper so-and-so comes to Portland and does a show. I'm not working directly for that person. I'm working for this bar. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It all gets lumped in, it all gets tied in. Number 3, this is a big one, obstruction of justice. Should it be found that any security personnel intentionally covered up evidence, misled authorities, or interfered with investigations into that artist's alleged activities, this could constitute obstruction of justice, contributing to the criminal enterprise under the RICO statute. The life of people, or the possibility of people not snitching on someone that's paying their bills, is extremely high. If you're working in close proximity to this person, they're the person that's paying your bills. They're the one that's signing the check for your mortgage. They're the one that's keeping you around famous people, around these parties. All of that is what ties it into that organization. If you're lying to police officers, if you're not cooperating with police officers, if you're hiding evidence, you're covering up evidence, you're complicit, right? Number 4, money laundering. If security guards are involved in facilitating financial transactions that help to conceal the origins of illegally obtained money, such as moving cash through one illicit venture, through a shell company or a business, they could face RICO charges. Number 5, this is where security guards and bouncers get themselves, in my opinion, in the most trouble. Extortion and coercion. If bodyguards or security guards are used to extort or coerce individuals, be they in business associates, rivals, or employees, to act in a way that benefits the organization's illegal activities, those actions fall under RICO. Extortion and coercion. Coercion is anything that they say it is. Literally mean mugging someone and making them feel that they have to do something that they don't want to do, whether that's leave, move, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I don't think that people are understanding how deep this well is. And this is the precedent that's being set. I'm not saying it's a precedent, good, bad, or indifferent.
Things can be a precedent without you or anyone else saying
that we agree with it or not.
Yes.
I just think that, look, when you go to your state-run security course, they're not going to talk about this. The reality is that some people want, like, there's literally nightclubs right where I work. 2 very famous nightclubs that have prominent rappers there all the time. I get calls and offers all the time to work security for these events. I have no desire to do that shit. I don't want any part of it. I've done my days at the strip club. I've done my days, working the college bars and nightclubs. But there's a lot of people out there, younger than I am, right? You guys want to do that stuff. And some of you are in larger cities. Some of you I know personally, you're bigger guys. You're decently tough. And it's not out of the question that you might find yourself in a situation where you're working in these environments. But understand, this is a very big fish that they've got their hooks in. And don't think that for 1 second, this is going to be the last guy that they go after. And so it's very easy to find yourself getting caught up in this situation. Go ahead.
I also think it's important to say this is obviously one of the biggest fishes they could catch. Doesn't mean that they're not going to go after
small time stuff, right?
Smaller time people or venues or things like that of that nature.
Number 7 is racketeering via bribery. Should any security guard have bribed law enforcement officers, public officials, or others to suppress investigations or allow illegal activities to proceed uninterrupted, this would expose them to RICO charges. Number 8, conspiracy to commit MURDE or assault. If the music mogul in question's private security personnel were a part of a coordinated plan or conspiracy to commit violent acts against rivals or enemies as an organization, particularly if there is evidence of multiple incidents, they could be charged under RICO. Is there any conspiracy that person is involved in where someone lost their life who might be a rival rapper from another coast on the map, right? Number 9, witness intimidation. Any security guard that's involved in intimidating a witness or individuals who were potentially going to testify against that individual or the organization in legal proceedings, this would be considered a criminal act contributing to a legal enterprise under RICO. Number 10, engagement in prostitution and human blank. If any protection agents were found to have facilitated, protected, or profited from those rings or human blank operations under the protection or involvement of the organization, they could also face RICO charges. So facilitating the movement of a human being across state lines for immoral purposes. What is immoral?
Well, are you asking me?
No, I'm just throwing that out there
yeah.
because stop. Let me just say this before you say anything.
Yeah.
It's whatever they say it is.
You're right. That's what I was going to say.
You know, the person that did the press conference last night was talking about 1,000 bottles of baby oil. 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. I don't like peanut butter on pancakes. I think it's weird and excessive, but it's not illegal. And I don't think that 1,000 bottles of baby oil is illegal, although it's weird. But under the case of what we're talking about, whatever they think at the moment is immoral is immoral. And the reason why I bring this up again is just that as a bodyguard, as a protective agent, as a security guard, if you're seeing these things, if you're aware of these things, and you're going to be, you have to understand that you're complicit. Just by being around it and being involved in any way and not removing yourself from it, you are complicit. And under this one specific statute, under this type of prosecution, everybody that's in the peripheral of this one individual is potentially guilty by association. So what you would have to assume is going to happen is that circle, however big and wide it is, they're going to say, okay, what information do you have? And by giving this information, we'll give you immunity. We won't prosecute you. But if you don't play ball, this is what's going to happen. And I think that as a security guard or somebody who's working in that situation, you guys need to be aware of that. I don't think that anybody in the peripheral of this one person would have ever thought that they would be a part of this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Okay. It's a very hard thing to try and navigate without saying the wrong thing. All right, let me see what kind of comments we got. All right. What's up, PBE? Okay. All right. I don't see anything that needs my hey, what's up, dude? I don't see anything that needs my immediate attention. Very important to understand this, guys. This is a precedent. And again, I'm not weighing in on whether this is a good precedent, bad precedent. I am bringing to light that if you're working in this capacity, you need to be aware that this is something that you could find yourself getting caught up in. All right. I would think very, very long and hard if you want to put yourself in that situation. The benefits of working in that industry around those type of people in that environment, I don't think that the juice is worth the squeeze, because a lot of the things that they're doing that you might not even be privy to. You're on the outside of the door, they're on the other side of the door. You're not a part of the party, you're outside the party. You're working security at the gate. But again, you saw that person come in, you saw that person leave, you had interaction, you can find yourself being a part of this enterprise that's now caught in the web of all the BS that's going on. I don't think that it's worth it. And I asked that question for this specific reason, to see what you guys are going to say. And over 50% of you said, yeah, I would love to do executive protection or security in that industry. And I really think that you guys need to be aware of it, think about it, and think if you want to be a part of that. Any thoughts?
I think it's just the blinding funness is what they're looking at, the bullshit shenanigans.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Of why you would want to be immersed in, it's the lifestyle. And even though they're not the ones who are the millionaires, unless someone is and they're just working security, but it's just the perks, benefits, lifestyle, the clout, the all of that is what makes it sound exciting to do, until you wind up working for someone who
finds himself in this situation.
And everybody's going down.
Yeah. All right, guys. He said Andrew Tate for president. All right.
Who said that?
No, just somebody they just putting up random comments. All right, guys. Drop your comments. Let me know what you guys think about this. All right. I'm going to bed. I gotta get up early.